Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we return to talking about the presidential campaigns going on right now in the United States of America. Particularly, we're going to be talking about the Democratic candidate, or the presumptive candidate, former Vice President Joe Biden. He's had a very rocky road to get him to where he is today, but fortunately for his camp, he did come out on top during the Democratic primaries. Now, there's still time for that to change. A lot of people still call him this placeholder candidate that could be replaced at any time. He's definitely failing in a lot of ways, including mental cognition, in his preparation, in his presentation. He's been duffing things up on the news, misspeaking all the time, like just in general, doing a terrible job at running his campaign. Ever since he came out in front and became the only candidate, things have really started to fall apart. We've seen a lot of mess ups. We've seen him duff up on the air, talking, misspeaking. One time he had Hillary Clinton on a live stream and it looked like he was falling asleep. He was doing this little head down thing. And in addition, he's had some other bad stories come out about him that have disrupted things. But today we're here to talk about another bad failed campaign rally. He's been holding this virtual campaign rallies online recently, and they've been full of lots of mess ups too. He's been trying to promote and go online lately and do some sort of like social media posting, and a lot of it's already messed up and blown up in his face. For example, I remember last week there was a video that was a short 30-second thing on his Twitter, and it had the wrong date on it, and I think it was because he recorded it the day before, but it took his team like too long to get it put together. So he said like this was on the 29th instead of the 30th, and it wasn't like a big deal, but it just went to show how ill-equipped and how incompetent his team is, which is a really bad sign. I mean, if you can't produce a 30-second video in one day on Twitter, then how are you going to run this whole country? I mean, we're the biggest country in the world. We're a world superpower. We've got lots of issues, lots of foreign and domestic relationships. I mean, I don't see that happening under a Biden guy who can't even get a live stream up and running. There's been other gaffes too where he's live streamed and he's like had his notes fall off. Like I think his teleprompter broke and he would wave in someone to try and help him, to try to save him. And lots of stuff like that has been happening over and over again. And it's all culminated in today's story. As you can see by this article, Tampa Bay recently had a virtual campaign rally for Joe Biden, and apparently it didn't go great. It says it was a rocky return to the campaign trail for Joe Biden. And right away, we're reminded of another thing. Joe has been out of the loop for a while. He's not very out there. He's been taking long breaks. Some people haven't seen him for a week. Sometimes it's a few days. And I mean, that's not the end of the world in normal situations. Even a normal politician can have a break, take some time off. But if you're in a presidential campaign for president, I mean, you probably should be appearing almost every week, like almost every other day. I'm not sure what the norm is there. I'm sure you could take days off too. I'm not saying that, but between Biden's failing health and him misspeaking and kind of duffing up all these live streams, to see him also kind of disappear from the spotlight, that's not a good sign. And then to come back to this virtual rally in Tampa that seemed to have gone horribly wrong. Lots of tech problems, lots of glitches. The sound was off here and there. Him saying stuff like, "Am I on?" Just all very unprofessional. Something you might just take without much thought if it was a regular person or even a normal politician, like a local politician. Anything can happen. You might have a problem with your microphone or something, but when you get to this high level, things are expected to be smooth. Trump has a great job at that. Trump has done wonderfully with his campaign, with his public performances, with his press conferences. All the videos he comes out turn out very professional, very well done. While Joe Biden is completely the opposite. That's why I say his campaign is totally failing and totally blowing up in his face after something like this. So let's read on into this article and see what else it has to say. Tampa, weeks after all but clinching the Democratic nomination, Vice President Joe Biden returned to the presidential trail Thursday with a pair of virtual events in Florida, home to 29 crucial electoral votes. There were internet issues. The first event featured a discussion with African American leaders from Jacksonville. That one was not broadcast, considering what happened next in Tampa. That might have been a smart move. The 5:15 p.m. virtual rally, ostensibly set in Tampa, streamed live on YouTube, sort of. Biden's campaign tried to make the e-rally feel as close to a normal political celebration as possible. A Tampa DJ played warm-up music between speakers. A Jesuit high school read the Pledge of Allegiance from what appeared to be his home. But the live stream of the rally was beset by technical failures. Speakers, including U.S. Reps Charlie Crist, Kathy Castor, and Senator Jeanette Cruz, appeared pixelated. Their feeds were visibly delayed as if they were transmitting from Afghanistan, not Tampa Bay. At one point, the stream cut to black with no audio for several minutes. Finally, 40 minutes into the rally, Biden was introduced, and what an interest. Wow. Just wow. Already off to a terrible start. We can see how these technical issues can really plague an event like this. It's tricky. I understand. And like I said, I'll try to give people the benefit of the doubt, but this isn't just Biden. This isn't just one incident. This is a culmination of many gaffes, many problems with his online presence, with his streaming, with his presentation. And I think this is the kind of thing that could really be backfiring on the Democrats, because they seem to be the ones that are pushing for more lockdowns and more isolation because they want to prolong this whole taking down of the economy. They want America to go as low as possible before the election because that'll make Trump look the worst and it'll give them the best chance. But this, I think, is an unfortunate spinoff from that, because now that they have everything locked down, people can't meet. We have to do these virtual rallies, and it turns out their candidate and his campaign, they can't cut it. They're not handling it well. They can't deal with all this technical issues. I mean, Biden himself is a dinosaur. I mean, it's not it's too big of a surprise that he's not making it. I mean, the guy is almost 80 years old. He probably doesn't even know what an iPhone is. He probably can't even log into Twitter on his own. So it's not that bad coming from him. But at the same time, it's like, do you want a president who can't use Twitter? I know Trump is a very active guy on Twitter. Some people say that to a fault, but I appreciate someone who's tech savvy. I appreciate someone like him who keeps up with the news, who's smart, who's quick, who could keep up and be on top of things, even in his old age. Trump is on the older side too. He's 73, I believe, but that's not that bad compared to Biden, who's almost 80, who can't even, use an Apple product, who can't even log on to Facebook or anything like that. And then his campaign to totally duff up too. I mean, he should at least have competent people around him, right? Like, can't we get someone who knows how to use Google or a live stream or Zoom or something? Like, he should have that around him. But even there, he's failing, which is why it seems like he's really fallen apart. A full 7 seconds after his introduction, Biden appeared, not moving. As he leaned against a wall, Biden sported his trademark aviators. He then walked up the camera, still wearing the shades. It sounded like he said, "Just me," as he looked off camera. Next, he walked up closer. Now. Plucking off his glasses, Biden then addressed the crowd. "Thanks so much for tuning in." Even Biden seemed to acknowledge the absurdity of a rally in a place, the internet, that has no location. "I wish we could have done this together and had it gone a little more smoothly," Biden said, looking into the camera. "But I'm grateful that we're able to connect virtually." But the glitches continued, and some were Biden's. He thinks Castor, but it sounded like he called her Representative Castro. Okay, already some kind of mess ups in his speech. He's misspeaking. He's acknowledging the absurdity of this. This virtual rally thing is already pretty bad. I mean, I think they could have easily just set up a small live stream and been a little more cognizant of how he has these failings, the internet has issues. Like, just set up something small. Like, let him stream in his office, maybe have one or two guests in there, or have him Zoom meeting someone. But even then, like, the more complications in this, it's just going to get worse, and that's what seems to happen. And now we're mixing in Biden calling someone Castro like they're a communist or something, and it's totally going off the rails. Biden tried in his short speech to highlight some of the myriad of policy differences between President Trump and himself. For example, the Trump administration is currently fighting a court battle to dismantle what remains of the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. Biden noted that he proposed adding a public health care option to the marketplace set up under the Affordable Care Act. Last year, Florida led the United States in Affordable Care Act signups. The former vice president also dedicated a significant portion of his address bashing Trump for his administration's response to the outbreak. At one point, Biden said that Trump's claim about the widespread availability of testing was a bald-faced lie. Well, I think we're also the most tested place in the world. We have more tests and more coverage than anyone else. We're doing a fine job. I think attacking the president for this response is a bad idea. I think Trump is doing well. People recognize that. They're doing the best they can with the bad situation. Granted, we admit it's very bad out there. Things are getting better, surely, but My problem with this line of attack is, there's nothing political about this. This is a foreign virus that came in from one of our enemies. And if you want to blame them or blame where it's coming from or the problem where it started, I'll get behind that. But if you want to try to blame people trying to help us like Trump and VP Mike Pence and their team who are doing fantastic and doing the best they can, I'm not on board with that. And the fact that Biden keeps bringing that up, it seems to be his go-to, like, oh, President Trump isn't responding to the health scare enough. That's just weak. That's just talking about stuff that's trying to be a Monday morning quarterback, trying to say, oh, I would have done it better when we don't know if you did. I don't think he would have. I mean, if Biden can't handle this virtual town hall thing, if he can't do a virtual meeting and this virtual rally, do we really think he's going to respond well to this international health scare? Do we think he's going to be able to deal with foreign adversaries like, say, dictators in the Far East, whatever's going on in Africa, something like that? Like, no, this is not a good sign. You're not properly prepared. Your rallies are going poorly. Trump never had these issues. Trump might have had some kind of glitch. Maybe a microphone went off or something, but it was never like a big story. It was never like, oh, he misspoke. He called someone Castro. Like, no, this is more serious. This is bad. And the fact that Biden thinks he can outdo Trump is pretty hilarious. There is no indication whatsoever that he understands the depth of the pain and the loss that this pandemic has caused, Biden said of the president. But once the speech ended, it was only a matter of time before Republicans pounced. Problem with Joe Biden is you can't tell if it's a bad feed during his virtual Tampa rally or if he just sounds that way. The Republican Party of Florida's account tweeted seconds after the event. So looks like people in the same state are already going after him. Joe Biden's virtual rally was a fundamentally unserious comedy of errors that display the depths of his campaign's incompetency. Trump victory spokeswoman Emma Vaughn emailed minutes afterwards. If he can't run a live stream, how can we expect him to run our country? And how can we expect him to protect us from this virus? In the end, I think you guys get the point. Basically, Biden is falling apart again. His technical problems are growing, as are his verbal flops, his misinformation, him misunderstanding things. He can't explain himself. He can't speak properly. He's attacking the president for the wrong things, and I think it's just a joke of a campaign. I'm not really sure what the Democrats are thinking. I think it's probably the best they could come up with, but it's rather sad, rather upsetting, and it's not going to do well for them. They're going to have a problem when it comes to the election now. Granted, they could still try and change things. They could still try and steal the election. I know a lot of talk has been about mail-in ballots. That's become a new meme and a new possible way for them to kind of sneak in more votes for their side. I don't think there's any doubt about it that they're going to try and pull something. They hopefully will not get away with it. We stopped them last time. Trump won over Hillary's cheating fan base and the Democrats trying to make stuff up about him. But we'll see what happens this year. I'm hopeful, and I'm seeing Joe Biden as a far worse candidate, way unprepared. His campaign is falling apart already. Can't handle these virtual rallies. Means they can't handle our country, especially in this dire time of need. So I appreciate you guys watching today. Thanks for taking time to check out this video. Make sure you comment all your thoughts below. What do you think about Joe Biden? What do you think about this election process? What do you think about this virtual rally that kind of went poorly? Comment all your thoughts and everything below. Thanks again for watching. Hit that like button to help support this channel, and we'll see y'all next time.